I'm excited about this episode this week because I'm introducing our fabulous headline sponsors that have been with us now for a few months. And without sponsors like the company that you are going to meet, we struggle to make the impact that we need to make on this industry. It's a real opportunity to say thank you to them, but also to allow them to talk about a bit of a movement that's going on in the UK right now and how we can be some of the pioneers or the first people to be on board with this movement and this change, considering investing in technology, equipment, a device within your clinic, and maybe been held back by the fear of the investment or the marketing strategy, or just feeling overwhelmed about where to start, then I think you'll really enjoy this very relaxed episode and learning a little bit more about MBST and the things that are happening in the UK this year. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast with Katie Bell. I'm Katie, and this is the place where clinic owners like you learn the strategies, tools, and mindset shifts needed to transform your clinic into a thriving business, one that gives you more time, more money, and more freedom. Born from a passion to challenge the idea that average is normal, we empower clinic owners to create extraordinary businesses, incomes, and lives. Through our world-class coaching programs, we help you step out of overwhelm and into confidence, turning your clinic into a business that fuels your lifestyle, not draining it. So, are you ready? Let's dive in. I'm delighted to tell you this episode of the Treat Your Business podcast is proudly brought to you by Nookal, the leading practice management software designed to streamline operations and empower every allied health clinic. Their platform seamlessly handles every aspect of your clinic, from scheduling and clinical note-taking to invoicing and reporting. Their innovative solution will help streamline your clinic and free up your valuable time, allowing you to focus on delivering better patient care and growing your business. So if you're tired of juggling multiple systems and wasting precious hours on administrative tasks, then experience the innovation of Nookal and discover how it can improve the efficiency and profitability of your practice. Visit nookal.com today to learn more about how their automated features and user-friendly interface can revolutionize the way you manage your practice. Unlock the full potential of your clinic with Nookal, the practice management software that puts you in control of your time. Now, let's get back to business. Hello, both of you. Welcome to the Treat Your Business podcast.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome. Great to see you both. Thanks for being here and for giving up your very valuable time to come and talk to our listeners. Now, I'm super excited about this episode because you are our brand new headline sponsors in Thrive. And Liz, I know you came to one of our live days a few weeks ago. I think we're completely blown away and overwhelmed by it.
In so many different ways. I just thought the energy in that room was incredible. I wish I could have stayed the whole day. When I'm at the next one, I'm going to be there all day because I think I could learn a lot as well. But no, it really was incredible. Everybody I met was super lovely. And it's great. There's already some members of our team were there. It was quite a nice coincidence, actually, seeing them. Yeah. What a great thing you're doing.
Oh, thank you. And I'm so pleased that you're part of this journey because we can't do what we do without people like you trusting us. And really, I think we're all here to support this industry and make us bigger and better and empower us to do braver things and really stand out amongst all the other kind of health industries out there. First of all, a thank you from me to you. So introduce who you are and tell everybody where you're from. And then I'm going to ask you how you explain this to people in simple terms.
So I'm Liz Clare, Managing Director of MBST UK.
I'm Charles Clare, also Managing Director of MBST UK.
So we're actually a brother and sister team. And how we came to be Managing Directors of MBST UK was actually a seed was planted by our mother, physiotherapist, who was the first healthcare professional in the UK to use MBST back in 2007.
Wow.
Yeah. And she was like many healthcare professionals. You have this mindset of, I want to be able to do more for my patients. Yeah. At the time, she just, everyone seems to be going off for new hips, new knees. What more can I do? So she went to an osteoarthritis conference, this machine in the background and having a cup of tea. And she said, this actually is answering my questions. So mother, she's a wonderful healthcare professional. I wouldn't necessarily say a businesswoman, but she was like, if this can help, this is a game changer.
Yeah.
And now we got then involved in 2011, opening our very own clinic dedicated to MBST. And then organically in the last 14 years, it's just gone from strength to strength.
So I guess you both have grown up watching your mum run a clinic and have all of the challenges that like we're trying to help clinic owners work through right now. So you see it from both sides, don't you?
Absolutely. When I first met you, Katie, when we first had the meeting, I was like, this means so much to me what you're doing, because we didn't really have a mum around growing up. Her time was her patients.
Yeah.
And she's such a giver, and it was finding that time. I said, if only she had you. And I think MBST obviously gave her more time because she didn't have to be spending as much time with the patients all the time. It gave her an extra income. But until then, there wasn't that support for her running a business. For us, this is a huge, I guess, we see it and we want to help other healthcare professionals, and we work with a lot. I mean, I think we've got about a team of 50. If you break it down of how many people work for each clinic, and that we talk to on a daily basis, and we're very aware of what people are going through. So we're not just a medical device. We try and support in other ways as much as possible.
Yeah, which I absolutely love. I think it's so important, because one of the biggest fears, I think, as clinic owners, I guess there's a few fears. There's the investment, first of all. It always comes back to the money, ultimately.
Yeah.
And because a lot of our clinic owners, I love you all who are listening, but we don't know our numbers well enough. It means that because we don't have that oversight of our numbers and that depth of understanding, we can't see, or we can't perhaps find the way through to look at how we can invest in this and how we can project for it and then make profit as a result of it. So there's all that going on. But also you want to make sure that when you bring in something like MBST into your clinic, you've got a business plan, you've got a team plan, you've got training, all of these things need to be considered. So when it comes to working with you guys, how do you explain MBST simply to our listeners?
So the very simple way of saying it is it's completely non-invasive. It uses magnetic resonance to stimulate the body's own repair mechanisms to increase tissue regrowth. So things like if treated cartilage, the cells, chondrocytes, they're the cells that build up cartilage. So if we stimulate them and give them the energy required, they will do their job properly and then regrow cartilage. It works same with osteoblasts if it's bone, or depending what tissue we're treating. It's that specific tissue and cells that build up that tissue to recover it. So it's non-invasive, it's pain-free. You literally lie there for an hour a day for 9 or 10 days, read a book, have a sleep, and get better with it.
The patients love it.
Not got any problems, because this sounds like an absolute
There's some patients who want to keep coming with that MBST just never lie down for them.
But the thing is, diagnosis is so important because MBST is tissue specific. And another thing, what we've learned over the years when talking about MBST, it's the resonance part that's important, not the magnetic part, because there's only actually one magnet that's aligning the protons. That's getting a bit sciencey. And I think, hopefully we'll talk about this further down the line. We will talk about exactly the impact MBST has at the cell, because it is quantum biology. It's a proven science. And we've got amazing scientists actually from Vienna University, and we'll talk about this another day, but the resonance side of things is really important. And also it's the regeneration of how we can actually do that to a cell, because it's resetting the cells. But when I say diagnosis is the key, going back to that point, physios are as important as the MBST is. We need the correct diagnosis and the correct aftercare, because you're stimulating regrowth in the cartilage. Those muscles are going to be weaker by the knees, for example, if that patient has been suffering for so long. So in all the countries in all the world that use MBST, as it's evolved, they see it as a musculoskeletal healthcare professional's tool more than anybody else, such as a physio. We have osteopaths and chiropractors also, and they get really great results too.
Yeah, amazing. So you've not seen this as you're buying a piece of kit, you're sticking a patient on it, and that's it. This is like you're still involved in their care, you're still involved in their diagnosis, their recovery afterwards, and whilst they having the MBST. But the MBST is doing the cell regeneration and repair that our thumbs can't do.
That's it. It's just combination therapy. It's like Liz said, the diagnosis is so important because it's tissue specific. If you come in with a bad back, is that degenerative disc disease? Is it osteoarthritis? Is it muscle injury?
Okay.
If we misdiagnose that, or if it was done that it wasn't controlled by a healthcare professional, I've got a bad back. Okay, we'll treat them. But if it's not the right treatment, then it's not going to get better.
The patient's not going to get the result.
And so they need that before care. Sometimes you need obviously hands-on care before we start MBST to get things going, get the patient understanding what the problem is and how to look after themselves well. And then that aftercare is really important as well as they progress.
One of the doctors said at the MBST conference that we recently had, it's like MBST is the ingredient, but the healthcare professional shows the body how to use it. And that's the perfect way of describing it.
Yeah, that really makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? So your mum obviously saw an opportunity in 2007.
Yes.
What was it, the fact that she was seeing lots of knees and hips or osteoarthritic problems and feeling like she was helping so much, but then there was like some stuff she couldn't do? Was that where it came from?
Yes, the big problem she even says now that at that time, late early 2000s, was that it almost became a bit of a fad of people going, oh, I'm going to get a new hip, new knee, become bionic. And it is a major surgery. It's a big operation and big recovery time. And it was just seeing so many people doing that and think this just makes no sense. There should be something else that I can do rather than just delaying slightly and helping before and afterwards.
Yeah.
But they're still going to have a new knee or a new hip. There must be something else out there.
Sorry, didn't mean to offend, but bear in mind, Mum is 71 this year and she still works a few hours a week in our clinic in Timwell, our physiotherapy clinic in Timwell. There's no stopping her.
No.
She says she won't retire until MBST's on the NHS, but yeah.
So how do you use it within your clinic, and how do others use it effectively in theirs?
So the most successful clinics are those clinics that are already well established. They've got their patient base, a trusted patient base.
Yeah.
And now we're offering something more. So in our clinic, for example, I mean, at different areas, you do find you get the different sort of patients. So our clinic is in Rutland. It's more of an older generation, but a very active older generation. Everybody wants to keep active and it's great. So what happens in the day-to-day would be, we're 14 years down the line with our clinic. So they've heard of MBST. A few of their friends have had MBST. So they come in, have an assessment with the physio, diagnose, have some physiotherapy treatment as well. And then they'll be book them in for the MBST, which can start the following week. They have an hour a day for 9 days. The person that actually puts them on the machine is a trained technician. So the physio doesn't even have to get involved at that point. But then we do like patients to see that healthcare professional at least 2 times. We normally say after 3 weeks of treatment, at 10 weeks of treatment. And then by then you should be discharging the patient. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely incredible. So this really aligns with, we work a lot in Thrive about moving away from pay as you go, moving away from this one time, oh, come back and just whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
This aligns with this whole like program of care, a real journey and a plan for them. So how do clinicians or clinic owners have like packages that they kind of put together and then sell? Is that how people use it?
Yeah, so we recommend that, like I said, then minimum of 3 sessions with the healthcare professional. So that assessment, definitely, MBST, at least 2 afterwards. Some patients do require that further care. As long as the patient's aware of that from the start, that it's at least 2 times, but we'll discuss it maybe after that first session. You'll know then, will they need some more hand-holding, more care, or is it somebody who you can give the tools themselves to help themselves and then just see them a bit later on? So it does depend patient to patient.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it could be an acute injury, which in that case you won't need to see somebody regularly. If they've had knee pain or back pain for 15 years, it's not going to be a 3-session with a healthcare professional and 9 to MBST. It will need more with that. So you do build that with patient to patient, but it is always a package. It's not a come in, have MBST, that's the end of it.
And what we do as a MBST UK, so every patient that comes in, we always find the first hour the most important hour, because that patient could be a bit anxious while they're on the MBST bed. They're wanting to know what actually is happening to me while I'm in this machine. Yeah. So what we've done to support all clinics, and also for us, so we can make sure that there's consistency throughout, because we don't own these clinics. It's not a franchise. We provide a device, but we like to make sure that everyone's looked after, cared for, and our patients are. They'll scan a QR code. It takes them to a questionnaire. How are they today? Sessions. If knees, they'll get a Q score. And then what we do, we can then start taking the data. So they'll get that on day 1, 3 weeks after treatment, 10 weeks, 3 months, 6 months. So for anything degenerative, like osteoarthritis, for example, it's more likely that the patient will have to have MBST again as a top-up, but that could be a 6 months or a year. So if the clinic necessarily hasn't got that capability of being able to communicate and keep on track of that patient's MBST, we offer that. So then the patient will get an email to say, have you thought about your top-ups? Have you thought about this? And we educate them. We've got our own patient portal. So there's plenty of information and hand-holding. We have email newsletters. I think we're a company that really cares about the patient as well as the healthcare professionals. I think because we've had our own clinic. Charlie and I started being MBST technicians, working in the clinic, putting patients on the machines. We've lived and breathed it. And even our head of communications, he worked in the clinic for 2 years, reception before and even though he's had a marketing background, he did part-time in the clinic because it's like, you've got to get to know the patients and what they want to know.
Yeah. And I think one of the things that you mentioned, Liz and Charlie, was that what's so important is trust with patients for this to be effective. Yeah. And this is what you were explaining, isn't it? That we can't just, any device that you invest in, you can't just think, I'm going to stick them on it and that's it. We still have to have that very thorough wraparound care. We still have to be very actively involved, empowering the patient to make the right decisions pre and post having this done, because it works at that cellular level, but you want to optimize their habits, the things that they're doing on a daily basis that will influence how successful this is.
Oh, absolutely. It's like everything. You can help treat that patient when they're here with you, but they've then got to keep that dialogue going in one way or another. And I think you build that time, that trust with the patient, and then you've got to trust them too, that they're going to then go on to drink plenty of water while they're having treatment or keep active after they've had the MBST. And MBST, we did for last year, talking about the QR code survey that we did with the scores. Our survey last year, satisfaction survey, we'll call it, for patients, 90%, which is huge. But I think what's so important is keeping that dialogue and communication. You don't be bombarding the patient, but that the trust isn't just before, it becomes after as well. Yeah. And managing expectations as well from the offset. We've created email templates and ways to talk to your patients when they inquire about MBST. Front of house staff, we even train them how to talk about it. And it's simple, but it's tell the patient how much this is going to cost them, because it is more of an upsell than paying for like normal physio, chiropractic, osteopathy. Like, it is more. But if we know how to position it, how to talk about it, when they're in the room with that healthcare professional, the price doesn't even need to be like, that's already been thought about. That it's the focus is, okay, where are we? Where do we want to go?
And I guess that then leads on to one of the things you mentioned before we came on live, was that the whole team have to be bought into this. So that's why it's really important front of house are trained, educated, understand really at the level the physios understand it at. And then your clinical team need to be on board with it. Because I see so many times people invest in like shockwave or laser machines, and then they just don't really do a lot with it. And it's because it's maybe only the clinic owner that's passionate about it.
Yeah, and that's something that we do offer as well. We do the training ourselves. So we will come out there and do all this scientific training, the using training. So to say there's no point in having any equipment that only one of how big the team is going to use it, or even two or three. Yeah. It needs to be something that everybody understands the benefit. Because if MBST would be beneficial for a patient, but they're seeing a healthcare professional who's either doesn't understand it or doesn't believe in it, that patient might not be getting the best possible treatment. Yeah. So it's always about the patient care, that side of things. So it's just...
And also what we do is to make sure that it gives everyone treatment. So if you need MBST in your clinic and you've got an MBST device, your front of house, the clinicians, the best way of talking about MBST is having it yourself. That story, that emotional story that you tell people. One of the first ever clinic was Camberley Optimum Performance that took on MBST, and that because that healthcare professional was due a back fusion. She had MBST, didn't need a back fusion. Another member of her staff, she was a footballer, ankle injury. She had it, and she was like, "Give me this. I need this machine." So the proof is in the pudding, but to get the whole team on board, that's why we're so passionate about. You have treatment on that machine. Yeah. We'll fund that. We support that.
Wow,
and we do that for all our clinics.
That's amazing. So when you've got a team that's passionate about what this can do, how it can elevate our practice, how we can optimize client results, and we're building that trust with our clients in the way that we are educating them and delivering the information to them. What do you then see as in kind of profitability for clients? And if we talk about the data and the numbers, because ultimately that it all comes down to the bottom line. What impact does this make on clinics that you've worked with and introduced MBST to?
Yeah, so every clinic so far does make a profit with it, depending on obviously how much you use it.
There's no point having it unless you're making a profit.
It's investment. So if you're investing something, you want a return on that investment.
Yeah.
We do work with different finance companies who have helped fund clinics before. That's not a problem in terms of having that.
Advice.
But we know that if you're doing 2 patients a month, as simple as that, or 2 patients a week, as simple as that, which is very low, then you'll be breaking even within a year.
Wow.
So that could buy back the machines, because the machines are about 95,000, 100,000 plus VAT, completely transparent with the price. But you soon do better. I mean, we had one clinic, I'll never forget when he first opened, in his first 3 months, he was able to buy a second machine cash. Because once the momentum is there and the patients are having it, and what it does for the patients and the stories are spreading, people come. But then there's he did so well because he was going out to all his current patients. And then there was a bit of a lull after that because, I've done them all.
Then they got to the point those patients getting better and then telling their friends and family, and then those people then came in. So having that existing client base is important because they're the ones who already trust you. So if you're a healthcare professional, you've got trust already. And with MBST, it doesn't make a noise particularly. You don't feel anything. It doesn't buzz, doesn't move. So to tell somebody, just lay there and you'll get better. If you've got that trust with people, they'll go for it if they trust you. And then when they get better, that's when that trust then ripples out because they'll tell friends and family who trust them. And I think, was it 1 year we had in our own clinic, we had a golfer came. That summer we treated, was it 23 different members of that golf club?
Yeah.
Just because he got better than he told other people and they trusted him because he was influential there. And then it just rippled and rippled.
Yeah.
They think that you had a bad hip on the, where's your bad hip shot?
Yeah, why are you swinging better?
Why are you suddenly looking like Rory McIlroy on the golf club? So I guess this comes back down to marketing tactics as well, doesn't it? That when you introduce a machine, I always think you've got people in your network that will already know what NBST does and the benefits of it. But in my opinion, and please correct me if I'm wrong here, that is a very small proportion of your market that's out there because people don't know what it is. And they're going to know about it more and more, the more that we all be brave and invest in these things and move forwards with our clinics. But there's a small proportion of people that already know that. They are your hot people that are pretty much ready to book and buy and go because they know already. They're very informed and they may have had an experience of it before or a friend or family member. But most of your database don't know that NBST is what they need, but they know they have a problem that they need help with. So I always think it's really important that when we bring in equipment, devices like this, is that your marketing goes up to that next level because you need to be visible. You don't need to be selling the machine because that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for a solution to the fact he can't play golf. He can't get round more than 9 holes without this hip problem coming on. The MBST just happens to be the solution to that problem.
Absolutely. We're working with so many clinics and helping clinics. I think our 16th one opened yesterday in Suffolk, and to try and do the same with every clinic. Some will need more help than others. But I always say advertorials, you need that space. You need that conversation. They're really important. I'd always say marketing. We always try and support people with press releases when the machines go into certain areas, talk about, and it's always about success stories, isn't it? Sharing the success stories.
Visual proof.
And the testimonials, and obviously our website and things. But from an MBST, as an MBST UK, what we're doing marketing wise, we're going to levels now more than we ever have done before. It's digital marketing to support our clinics as well, with the SEO, Google ads, Facebook ads. Social media, I still think is super important, and you can get that out to different patients on different streams. TikTok, you've got it still needs to be used. Actually, I'm quite amazed actually that I think in the industry that we're all in, I don't think we quite use TikTok enough. And that's something we're about to explore more. And whatever we do, we share with our clinics. And because we've got our own, it's our sort of test clinic as well, isn't it? So we've when I said we've got our 55 healthcare professionals all in one group, we have a support group as well. And that's not just about what treatment cards this patient need, or I've had this patient in today, what would you treat them with? It's, because the healthcare professionals aren't marketeers. You're not meant to be great at you're not meant to be great at everything. Your focus should always be the patient. But this is why we try and share best practice. There's been some failures over the year that someone wants advertised on the back of a bus. I was like, why are you doing that? But we've got some fun campaigns going and we have a good time as a team. I'm just saying we've got invited to this cricket dinner at Lord's, and one of the clinics that's near there will take him along for networking. Have good fun as well. And I think it's important. You need to have good fun while you're running your businesses, healthcare, and as well as...
And you know what?
Helping people.
Those opportunities. I did a talk at Therapy Expo Liz last year, and we were talking about social media and, should I be posting? Should I be scrolling? Should I be dancing on TikTok? Should I be doing this on Google? All these kind of things. And I said, if you sacked off all of those right now and went down to your local pub and bought a pint and just started talking to people about their pains and injuries that they've got sat around in that pub, you would get more business than you would dancing on TikTok right now.
Yeah.
Got to be the audience that you are trying to attract. And TikTok, yes, great if your audience that you want to attract is the young person with maybe the acute ACL rupture or the ankle injury. If you want to target over 65s who are struggling with osteoarthritis of the knee, don't go on TikTok to attract them.
Yeah.
It's being really specific, isn't it, of your audience. And
in a way, I'd say leave TikTok and all that to us. We should be making MBST. We are making MBST. It's not just a machine. It's actually what it can give. And that's what I try and say to our clinics. I see a lot of them that really want to do all this. I'm like, do it, but we can do a lot of it for you as well.
Yeah.
To promote the MBST. Yeah,
absolutely. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? I always come back to strategy with any device, with anything that you do in your business. What is the strategy behind it? What's the business plan? What's the profitability? What's going to be return on investment? How are we going to package this up? How are we going to sell it? How are we going to market it? And I'd really encourage clinic owners to understand that before they make an investment as big. It is a big investment, but it's so worth it if you get it right. When you get
absolutely. And it's down to us as well, I think, for us to make sure that clinic can do that. We're here to support. You've got to make sure that you know what you're getting yourself into and have the plan and the strategy. I would say for every machine we sell, there's probably a year warm up between, or even multiple. I think the people that finally took on the device yesterday, 6 years? But not just because she was a patient.
She was a patient.
But then you get some people you meet in October and they've signed up for the January. So it's all different. But it's always got to make sure that everything's aligned. We'd never want to give anyone a machine that's going to be causing problems and stresses, because that has happened before in the past. In the early days, we now know what we're doing. Sort of thing. In the early days, you think, I want these sales, I want these machines out there. And we have taken machines off people in the past.
Yeah. And
some have been orthopedic consultants.
Wow. Yeah, and that's really nice to hear, isn't it? Because I think you are a values-led company. This was born from a passion of seeing really your mum benefiting from the results she was getting in her clinic with her patients, and then it's born from that. It's always, the machine is not right for everybody, but for those who have got as you said, Charlie, the existing database, who have got the kind of the mindset of an entrepreneur as well, because you talked about sometimes if you're not brave, you're just standing still in your clinic. And we need to be.
A lot of people want data. And of course there's data, but it's like, you can't always lean on some things. You need to have this drive in you to do it. I mean, one of our healthcare professionals in Bristol, I always call him my Labrador, because he's just up for it. And he now trains people across the world with MBST in their clinics, because he knows exactly how to talk to the patient about it, to build the confidence in the healthcare professional. And every single person that comes on board spends time with him. Wow. He's just wonderful. And if we can clone him, it'd be amazing. But you do, but then people feed off him. And you do have to be brave. You do But I feel like what we're creating is a movement as well. It's changing healthcare. And we've got really exciting next few months as well. And it's the Chinese government have just taken it on and putting it all in their hospitals. Like the other countries and what they're doing with it. Canada are fast tracking it to the FDA because the health minister had MBST in Spain. So there's so many things that are happening with it. And I always say to you, I'm gonna miss these days, the entrepreneurial days. But I still think in the UK it's going to be a while till we get there. But I am urging people, like, get on this journey now, because real cool big things are happening.
And I think, that it's a very British thing, that, isn't it? I love the country, I really do. But we are always a bit slow to be ahead of the game. And I think a part of that is because we've got a paid health service.
Yeah. Oh gosh, yeah.
There is an element of an expectation that we've been paying for years into our national insurance contributions. And therefore we think that actually we should have everything fixed. And I get that mentality. But we also have a population that put up with, and they think that this is just how it needs to be because I'm now getting older. And I'm always like, you don't have to put up with pain. You don't have to put up with dysfunction. There are things that you can do about it. And it's reversing that, or it's all of us working together to change people's mindset by investing in their health and wellness. Because ultimately, if we haven't got that, we haven't got anything if we haven't got health. But I really feel this country's a bit slow to...
Yeah. And I'm MBST biased, and I am, but look how many things are out there. There's so many things that we brought together to, MBST works great with Shockwave. Everything has its place. And manual therapy is super important. If someone said to me, I don't do manual therapy, or not, but it's like, well, no, you're not touching MBST, because you can't look at a scan all the time, can you? It's the person, it's the patient that needs looking at. There's not just the physical, it's what's brought this patient to this day, what is their history? It's also important.
It really is. And we need brave clinic owners. We need those that are strategic, and we need those that think about the bigger picture when they're investing in something like this. But you briefly touched upon the vision of like MBST UK, and we're chasing behind China and Canada, and we're trying to... What do you see then, Liz and Charlie, for the next 12 months for you guys?
Well, the rest of the world believe that the UK for research and development is still one of the most powerful countries in the world. So excitingly, all operations is moving to the UK. So we've got one university doing straightforward more RCTs that are still needed. We've got another university that's doing stuff to help the economy return people back to work. And then we're actually building a foundation centre. This might take a couple of years, doing the foundation centre, but where we can really develop, because we're treating patients, which is the main thing. We're still going to need to, you have to, don't you, in this country, you have to keep making sure research and development is happening. And we know that MBST works at the moment an hour a day for 9 days, can work within a cartilage cell, for example. Do we really need that full app? We need more scientists to actually look in more and develop. Can we make it even more efficient? What else can we use it for? That's a huge development that's happening, because what MBST does to reset a cell, not just going to be working in MSK. There's some incredible cases in Spain. Respiratory physios have been using it for COPD because reducing the inflammation in the lungs. And the results there already are showing.
So things like ulcerative colitis, that kind of things, where like any inflammation in the body, in theory, MBST will reduce. And so we're seeing incredible results that way. But we're also doing trials and studies with professional sports teams. So we're working with 3 different clubs at the moment who are doing 2 quite a similar trial, but I guess getting that data out there. Another one a bit more scientific. And we will be at least one of those very soon. That has been signed off, but we can't announce it until something else comes out first. But when it comes out in June,
June,
we can then talk about it properly, and we can, be very exciting.
And with these clubs, we've been working for 2 hours. We've worked with many clubs, like ad hoc every now and again. Now, I have players ringing me up, wanting their own machines, but would never do that. But with 2 specific clubs, we've worked with them for many years, and that's how we've got to this. Again, the building the trust. Yeah. And for them to do this, it's great. They want to get involved in their names in research and development as well. So it's really exciting, I think, for both parties. And actually all 3 clubs are allowing us to put testimonial on our enhanced sports page on our website, which should be really exciting because it's really hard, I think, in elite sport you can't really name drop, you can't, and it's like anything, you've got to protect the player and things like that because it impacts what they're valued at. But we've got some really creative things coming out, which will again knocks down to support the clinics and the reputation of MBST, and that's what we're here for, is building the reputation as much as possible.
Yeah, it's a really, as you said, Liz, it's a really exciting movement, I feel, and we get so many clinic owners, we get so many guests like you guys on this podcast, and we're all here because we want to up-level this industry. We want to be market leaders. We want to be able to charge what we are worth and really look after our clients at that next level.
And I think personally, growing up with a physio mum, and she was the breadwinner in our family. And I just always remember looking at her thinking, God, you work so hard and return the money. And I feel, yes, MBST has a cost, but it enables a physio or a chiropractor, osteopath to have a wage of a surgeon, or if not higher. It is opening more opportunities, and I feel like that's giving something back. Like it feels like it's giving a gift. It's not just to the patient, but to healthcare professionals, and it's so personal to us as a mum.
And because MBC is passive, I mean, in terms of after you've done the assessment, when they're actually having the treatment, the physio or the healthcare professional doesn't need to be with them at all 9 hours.
Yeah.
So you can still, at that time the patient's being treated, you can treat somebody else, either hands-on or use that time for something else.
Have a day off.
So there's
in the mornings, perhaps, because you're earning money anyway.
So it opens doors a bit easier for what you want to do with your life, really, alongside, obviously, job.
Yeah, and then we've got kind of some mutual clients who we both know that talked to you at the strategy day, and they're real sort of pioneers in using tech to treat people's spinal conditions. And it's just really exciting conversations to be having with them and seeing what they're doing within their clinics. And I'm sure our listeners are going to be excited and inspired. And I always say from something like this, if you've got something inside you that is, a bit excited, there's a kind of feeling about that, I urge people to just start having conversations, because it's not, Liz, as you said, you're not going to suddenly next month decide that this is the right move for you.
No.
But you need to start somewhere. You need to start opening those doors, having those conversations, doing your research and doing your due diligence as well, so that you feel informed. And so how do they reach out to you, Liz and Charlie, for a conversation?
Email me. Hopefully people are quite relatable. But email Liz at mbst-therapy.co.uk. And you don't even have to talk to us about it. You can talk to one of our healthcare professionals. Like I say, James, for example. There's so many of them that will talk about their journeys and where they are.
Yeah.
I feel like once you've got the MBST bug, you just want to tell the world about it. And we see it in all our healthcare professionals. But email, and then we're approachable. We're here for conversations, and been there, done that, got the t-shirt. We've started from being the only clinic in the UK to providing MBST to providing it to a lot of the sports clubs and sports teams, and 16 now sites, and I think there's going to be a hell of a lot more this year as well. So the growth is really steeping up. And 2020 actually was a big game changer for us. I think it allowed a lot of healthcare professionals to stand back and look at their businesses.
Absolutely. And
then for 2 years, we didn't really want to sell a device. We're like, oh God, we've really got to make sure our company can cope with this.
Make sure the clinics.
It's been organic growth. It's never been. I don't think I've massively actively gone out to sell. It's more building contacts, or it's been a knock-on effect. I think some of our clinics just have our patients to come back to us, and why are they better? What's this machine? I need to learn more about it.
Yeah, really exciting. And I'm really happy that I played a small part in the growth of MBST and really just optimizing what we can do for clients out there.
You're giving us a platform to talk, and it's something that means a lot to us. And I do need to order some more books from you, because every clinic now is going to have your book. It's super important what you're doing, and it's amazing.
Together, we will change this industry, I am sure. Yes. Thank you, Charlie. Thank you, Liz, for your time. Really appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
Welcome.